So there I was, Dr. Marcus Webb, sitting in the most advanced medical facility in the known galaxy, surrounded by the greatest minds in xenobiology, and wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake leaving Earth. Hippocrates 9 wasn't just any space station. This thing was the size of Manhattan, orbiting a binary star system, and it looked like someone had crossed a hospital with a crystal palace and then set the whole thing on fire with neon lighting. Very impressive, very intimidating, very much designed to make you feel like your medical degree from Johns Hopkins was basically a participation trophy. The Galactic Medical Council chamber was even worse. Picture the UN General Assembly, but everyone's either glowing, floating, or secreting something. I was the only human in a room of 200 alien physicians, and let me tell you, the chairs were not designed with spines in mind. High Physician Korvath was holding court at the center platform. He was crystalline, which meant he looked like a very angry chandelier that had achieved sentience and a god complex. When he spoke, his voice came out in perfect harmonics that made your teeth hurt. The situation is dire, Korvath announced, and every translator in the room rendered it with appropriate dramatic flair. The fade has now affected 47 species across 12 systems. Mortality rate, 38%. Transmission vector, unknown. Cure, non-existent. The holographic display showed the symptoms in excruciating detail. Patients started with fatigue, then moved on to complete cellular energy depletion. Their bodies just sort of gave up like someone had unplugged them from the universe. It was nasty, efficient, and spreading faster than conspiracy theories on social media. Our best xenopathologists are baffled, Korvath continued. Our most advanced scanning technology reveals nothing. The illness operates on a level we cannot detect. I raised my hand. Mistake number 1. Dr. Webb, Korvath's voice could have frozen helium. You have input? Yeah, so I was looking at the symptom progression, and it really reminds me of something we used to see on Earth. The treatment was pretty straightforward. We could try Dr. Webb. He somehow made my name sound like an insult. We are not interested in primitive Earth remedies. We are discussing an advanced pathogen that requires advanced solutions. Unless your planet has somehow developed technology beyond our scanning arrays in the last cycle, I suggest you observe and learn. A few council members made sounds that their translators interpreted as polite laughter. Mine just said, dismissive amusement detected. Thanks, translator. Really needed that clarification. I shut up and watched as the greatest medical minds in the galaxy proceeded to have what was essentially a very expensive panic attack. Dr. Velma Brightspark was bouncing in her seat. She was Calaxian, which meant she looked like a praying mantis had merged with a hummingbird and developed an addiction to coffee. We must approach this with revolutionary thinking. I propose full nanocellular reconstruction. Professor Grimwald, a large amphibian creature who always looked like he was attending his own funeral, croaked out. It will fail. Everything fails. We are doomed. Thank you for that, Professor Optimism, I muttered. My translator didn't broadcast it. Small mercies. The meeting went on for 4 hours. 4 hours. And the conclusion? They were going to try everything except the obvious solution, because apparently, when you have a hammer that cost 17 billion credits and required 3 PhDs to operate, every problem needs to be treated like it's made of titanium. As everyone filed out, I tried one more time. Korvath, seriously, if we just… Dr. Webb. He turned, and light refracted through his crystalline structure in a way that probably would have been beautiful if he wasn't glaring at me. You were appointed to this council as a diplomatic courtesy to Earth. Your species has been spacefaring for barely 2 centuries. Perhaps focus on learning from your betters before presuming to teach them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the moment I decided that when this all inevitably went sideways, I was going to enjoy every second of telling them I told them so. The next 72 hours were like watching a very expensive circus where all the performers had PhDs and the clowns were completely unaware they were clowns. Dr. Brightspark went first. She'd requisitioned an entire medical bay and filled it with machines that hummed, beeped, and occasionally made sounds like someone was torturing a synthesizer. The nanoparticle restructuring chamber looked like a tanning bed designed by someone who'd never seen a living creature. The theory is sound, she insisted, vibrating with excitement, literally vibrating. Her wings made this constant thrumming noise. We introduce programmable nanoparticles that will restructure the cellular matrix at the quantum level. I was standing in the observation deck with about 50 other council members. Has this been tested? I asked. Extensively. On non-organic materials. Right. Cool. So not on living things. Life is just organized matter, Dr. Webb. They put the first patient in the chamber. There was a lot of flashing lights, some dramatic humming, and then a sound like reality itself was having indigestion. When the smoke cleared, the patient had turned slightly purple and was now glowing in the dark. Fascinating, Brightspark chirped. The nanoparticles have achieved a stable reorganization. They're glowing, I pointed out. Minor side effect. They're also still dying. Yes, well, we cannot solve everything at once. The patient was carefully removed and placed back in intensive care, where they continued dying, but now with improved visibility and low-light conditions. Professor Grimwald went next. His solution involved gene splicing, which he approached with all the enthusiasm of someone preparing for their own autopsy. We will introduce corrective DNA sequences from species resistant to cellular degeneration, he explained in a voice like wet gravel sliding down a chalkboard. Which species? Someone asked. The tardigrade variants from Kepler 442b. They are nearly indestructible. Neat, I said. And the compatibility issues? We will address those if they arise. They arose immediately. The patients didn't die, which was good. They also didn't stay in their original form, which was bad. One developed an exoskeleton. Another could suddenly survive hard vacuum but couldn't tolerate normal atmospheric pressure. A third became semi-aquatic and had to be moved to a water tank. I did warn you, Grimwald croaked. Everything I touch fails. It is my curse. Maybe lead with that next time before we start splicing people, I suggested. Korvath tried next. His approach involved harmonic resonance therapy, which was exactly as pretentious as it sounds. The idea was that since he was crystalline and crystallines used harmonic frequencies to communicate, maybe the right frequency could reset the patient's cellular structure. It mostly just gave everyone in a 3-room radius a splitting headache. After each failure, I'd try to speak up. Look, I know it sounds simple, but Dr. Webb, we do not have time for simple. Korvath's voice was getting sharper. Simple is what primitive species try when they lack proper technology. Right, but what if? Observe, learn, be silent. Day 4, the illness spread to Lady Morphina, the Duchess of the Andromeda royal family. She was shapeshifter royalty, which meant she could look like anything she wanted. Unfortunately, the Fae didn't care about your social status or your ability to look like a decorative fountain. The council meeting that followed was less medical conference and more full-blown meltdown. We are failing, Korvath's voice hit frequencies that made the walls vibrate. The entire galaxy is watching, our reputation is crumbling. Perhaps if we combined approaches, Brightspark suggested, bouncing even more frantically than usual. Nanoparticles with gene therapy and harmonic resonance. That will definitely kill them, I said. Do you have a better idea, Dr. Webb? Korvath whirled on me. Actually, yes, I've been trying to tell you. Then by all means enlighten us with your Earth wisdom. The entire council turned to look at me. 200 pairs of eyes, optical sensors, and electromagnetic field detectors all focused on yours truly. It's actually pretty straightforward, I said. Hydration, basic electrolytes, warmth, and a protein suspension with specific amino acid chains. On Earth, we called it... Is this another one of your primitive remedy suggestions? Korvath interrupted. Well, yeah, but we are attempting to cure a plague, Dr. Webb, not comfort patients through their final hours. Dismissed. And that was that. I was officially the council's resident idiot. By day 7, the death toll had hit 4 figures. The media was having a field day, which is apparently a universal constant. Doesn't matter if you're on Earth or orbiting a neutron star. Journalists will find a way to make everything sound like the apocalypse. Korvath called an emergency session. Dr. Webb, he said, and I swear the temperature in the room dropped 5 degrees. You have been assigned to Ward 13. The entire council went silent. Even Bright Spark stopped vibrating. Ward 13? I asked. The terminal ward, Professor Grimwald croaked. Where hope goes to die. Appropriate, really. You will handle the cases we deem beyond saving, Korvath explained. Since you clearly have no appreciation for advanced medicine, you may practice your earth comfort care on those for whom it no longer matters. It was a punishment, obviously. Stick the stupid human with the dying patient so he can't get in the way of the real doctors. Fine. Great. Perfect. I went to Ward 13 with a supply requisition list that would have made absolutely no sense to anyone on the council. They approved it without even looking, probably figuring I was ordering equipment for some kind of primitive Earth death ritual. Patient 1 was a Metharian, a species that looked like someone had given an octopus an existential crisis. They were barely conscious, their chromatophores flickering weakly. Hey there, I said, pulling up a chair. I'm Dr. Webb. I'm going to try something, and I need you to trust me, okay? They managed a weak gesture that my translator interpreted as, at this point, why not? I set up a simple IV drip, saline solution with added electrolytes. Then I pulled out my secret weapon, smuggled from Earth and transported in my personal effects. A thermos of chicken soup. Yes, soup. I'd had to synthesize most of it using the station's food processors, but the basics were there. Chicken protein, vegetables, salt, water, all carefully heated to optimal temperature. This is going to sound insane, I told the Metharian, but on Earth we've been using this for about 10,000 years, works pretty well. I got the patient to consume about a cup worth, added some basic anti-inflammatory medication that was compatible with their biology, made sure they were warm. Then I waited. 12 hours later, they were sitting up. 24 hours later, their chromatophores were back to normal color. How do you feel? I asked. Like I am not dying, they said, which in my professional medical opinion was a significant improvement. I tried to report it to Korvath. He listened for about 30 seconds. Dr. Webb, spontaneous recovery is not unheard of. Do not waste my time with anecdotal evidence. But we are pursuing real solutions. You are dismissed. Patient 2 was a feroxy, basically a bear-sized beetle with attitude. Same treatment, same results. Patient 3, a gossamer, looked like a floating jellyfish made of starlight. Same thing. By the end of week 2, I had a 94% recovery rate in Ward 13. The other 6% had been too far gone when they arrived. The council noticed. Kind of hard not to when the death ward suddenly stopped producing deaths. Statistical anomaly, Korvath declared. Ward 13 must have been receiving less severe cases. They're the terminal patients, I pointed out. Then perhaps Dr. Webb's bedside manner provides some placebo comfort effect. That's not how placebo effects work with cellular degeneration. Do you question my medical knowledge, Dr. Webb? I was about to respond when a small blob-like creature oozed up next to me. This was Pip, a junior nurse, species gelatin something or other. They looked like someone had given sentience to a pile of jello. Dr. Webb, Pip's voice was quiet, nervous. I have been observing. I have noticed patterns. I think I know what you are doing. Finally, someone was paying attention. We met in secret in an unused supply closet which felt ridiculous but was apparently necessary. You are giving them nutrients, Pip said. Specific nutrients, and warmth, and hydration. The other doctors, they look for complex answers. But you are treating the symptoms as if they are simple nutritional deficiency. That's because it is, I said. The fade? It's basically aggressive viral or pathogenic dehydration combined with electrolyte imbalance. The pathogen, whatever it is, disrupts the body's ability to retain water and certain key nutrients. Everything else cascades from there. You don't need quantum mechanics, you need soup. Soup, Pip repeated. Soup. The universe's most underrated medical miracle. They will not believe you. I know. What do we do? I looked at the little blob of courage hiding in a supply closet with me, willing to risk everything to do the right thing. We expand operations, I said, quietly. Running an underground medical operation in the most advanced hospital in the galaxy turned out to be surprisingly easy, mostly because everyone was too busy trying increasingly desperate solutions to notice what was happening in the forgotten terminal ward. Pip became my partner in crime. Turned out that being a small, gelatinous blob made you basically invisible to most of the council members. Pip could ooze through the station, requisition supplies, and nobody questioned it. 17 more thermoses, Pip reported, sliding into Ward 13 with a hover cart. Also, I have acquired something called crackers. Your list indicated these were important. Pip, you beautiful blob of excellence, you're a lifesaver. We set up an assembly line. I'd taught Pip how to prepare the soup, how to check electrolyte levels, how to adjust the IV drips. We worked double shifts, treating patients as they came in. The recovery rate held 94%, 95%, 96%. Word spread among the patients. The dying were requesting transfers to Ward 13, which confused the hell out of the council. Why would they want to go to the terminal ward? Brightspark asked during a meeting. Perhaps they have accepted their fate, Grimwald suggested. Smart of them. We are all doomed anyway. Korvath was more suspicious. Dr. Webb, what exactly are you doing in your ward? Comfort care, I said innocently. Like you assigned me to do. Yes, but patients are requesting it specifically. Maybe I have a good bedside manner. His crystalline structure literally sparkled with annoyance. See that you maintain proper protocols. Meanwhile, the rest of the station was still trying solutions that made quantum physics look straightforward. Someone proposed temporal regression therapy, which was just time travel for sick people. Someone else wanted to try phasing patients slightly out of dimensional alignment. There was a serious discussion about relocating everyone to a different reality where the fade didn't exist. Our death rate kept dropping. The station's overall mortality rate started to improve, slowly but measurably. Korvath called a press conference. Due to our innovative atmospheric treatment protocols, he announced to the galaxy's media, we have begun to see improvement in patient outcomes. The Galactic Medical Council's dedication to cutting-edge solutions is yielding results. I watched from the back of the room. Pip oozed up next to me. He is taking credit for your soup. Let him, I said, as long as patients get treated. That lasted about 3 more days. A Metharian patient, one of my first recoveries, was being interviewed by a journalist for a feel-good recovery story. How did you survive? The reporter asked. Dr. Webb gave me soup, the patient said. The reporter's translator hiccuped. I'm sorry, what? Soup. Earth soup, with bread, and warm liquids, and some medicine, but mostly the soup. The interview went viral, because of course it did. Within hours, the press descended on Hippocrates 9 like a swarm of very nosy locusts. They wanted to know about the miracle cure. They wanted to interview the human doctor with the magic soup. They wanted to know why the Galactic Medical Council's official statements never mentioned soup. Korvath's harmonics could have shattered glass when he summoned me to his office. Explain, he said. Soup, I replied. That is not an explanation. Actually, it kind of is. The council is facing questions about why a human doctor's primitive remedy is outperforming our advanced treatments. Yeah, weird how that works out, huh? If crystallines could have aneurysms, he would have had one. Emergency tribunal, 1 hour, bring your data. Finally, I muttered. Pip caught up with me in the hallway. Are they going to expel you? Probably. But you are saving lives. Yeah, but I'm making them look stupid while doing it. In politics, that's worse than murder. That is illogical. Welcome to civilization, Pip. It's all downhill from here. The tribunal chamber was packed. Not just the council, but media representatives, patient advocates, and what looked like half the station's staff. Everyone wanted to see the human doctor either vindicated or humiliated. I was betting on humiliated, honestly. Korvath presided from his elevated platform, managing to look down on me despite us being in zero-gravity accommodations. Dr. Marcus Webb, you stand accused of practicing unauthorized treatment protocols and undermining the council's official medical directives. I stand accused of healing people, got it. Do you deny that you administered unauthorized substances to patients? Nope. Did it. Worked great. A murmur ran through the chamber. Bright Spark's wings buzzed nervously. Grimwald looked like he was already writing my obituary. Present your defense, Korvath demanded. I pulled up my data pad and projected the holographic display for everyone to see. Right, so here's the thing. The fade isn't some mysterious quantum illness. It's a pathogen that disrupts cellular hydration and nutrient absorption. Patients literally dehydrate at the cellular level while being unable to process electrolytes. Everything else, all the dramatic symptoms, they're secondary effects. Preposterous, Korvath said. Our scans would have detected simple dehydration. Your scans were looking for complex problems. You missed the obvious because you were too busy being impressive. More murmurs. I was either about to get vindicated or thrown into space. Honestly, 50-50 odds. The treatment is straightforward, I continued. Aggressive rehydration with electrolyte balance, warm liquids to improve absorption, protein suspension with specific amino acid chains to support cellular repair. On Earth, we accidentally figured this out about 10,000 years ago and called it chicken soup. You are claiming, Korvath's voice could have cut steel, that chicken soup cures the fade. I'm claiming that addressing the actual problem instead of showing off with expensive equipment cures the fade. The soup is just the delivery mechanism. Add some basic broad-spectrum anti-inflammatory medication for compatible species, and boom, 96% recovery rate. Impossible. Check my data. Ward 13, 217 patients, 209 recoveries. The 8 deaths were patients who arrived too far gone for any intervention. Dr. Brightspark suddenly zoomed forward, her wings creating a small windstorm. Show me the molecular breakdown. I pulled up the analysis. She studied it, her compound eyes processing faster than any human could follow. The amino acid chains, the electrolyte balance, and the thermal regulation component. Her wings stopped buzzing. She turned to the council. It works. The science is sound. It is embarrassingly simple, but it works. Professor Grimwald oozed forward to look at the data. He studied it for a long moment. The human is correct, he croaked. We overcomplicated the problem. We were looking for sophisticated solutions to impress each other while patients died. It is the most depressing thing I have seen in my career, which is saying something. Thank you for that, Professor, I said. Korvath's entire structure was vibrating with what I recognized as fury. This cannot be the solution. We are the Galactic Medical Council. We do not cure plagues with soup. Well, we just did, so maybe update your protocols. I demand further testing, extensive trials, peer review. We cannot possibly authorize treatment based on... The chamber doors opened. A royal procession entered, led by Lady Morphina's family representatives. The Duke himself, currently shaped like an intimidating pillar of liquid metal, flowed forward. High Physician Korvath. The Duke's voice echoed through the chamber. We have heard of Dr. Webb's treatment. Our daughter is dying. We demand she receive this human soup immediately. Your Grace, I must protest. The treatment is unproven, primitive. Our daughter has 3 days to live under your care. The human's patients live. We demand treatment, now. You could have heard a pin drop in that chamber. Actually, someone did drop something, and yeah, everyone heard it. Korvath's harmonics went through several frequencies that my translator labeled as extreme displeasure, wounded pride, and accepting inevitable defeat. Very well, he said finally. Dr. Webb, you will administer your treatment to Lady Morphina under our full observation. If she recovers, we will consider broader implementation. Great, I said. Gonna need a kitchen. Lady Morphina received her first bowl of soup at 1600 hours station time. By 2200 hours, her cellular cohesion had stabilized. By 0400 the next morning, she was sitting up and asking why hospital food was suddenly delicious. The Duke authorized immediate payment to the Galactic Medical Council, with a bonus that could have funded a small planet's economy. He also insisted on a full case of Dr. Webb's soup being shipped to the royal family for preventive care. Within a week, chicken soup, or as Korvath insisted on calling it, Hydroprotein suspension therapy with thermal regulation enhancement became the standard treatment for the fade across the galaxy. The mortality rate dropped to less than 2%. The plague was effectively over. I became a celebrity, which was weird. Interviews, speaking engagements, medical schools wanting me to lecture. I mostly declined. I had patients to see and a very smug point to make every time I walked into council meetings. Corvath never actually apologized. Instead, he published a paper about the importance of revisiting fundamental treatment approaches. He managed to write 40 pages without using the word soup once. Impressive, really. "Dr. Webb," he said one day after a council session, "I want it noted that I still believe your methods are primitive." Noted. However, they are also effective. That must hurt to say. You have no idea. His harmonics actually sounded tired. "The council is requesting that you compile a list of other Earth remedies that might have applications in galactic medicine." I pulled up my datapad. "Already done. Here you go." He looked at the list. His crystalline structure went through several color changes. Tea, honey, bed rest, ginger ale. "Dr. Webb, these are not medicines, these are beverages and leisure activities." "Yeah, and they work. Crazy how that happens." This one just says walk it off. Surprisingly effective for a lot of minor stuff. And this, what is a hot toddy? Whiskey-based medicinal drink, good for respiratory issues. You are suggesting we add alcohol to our medical protocols. I'm suggesting you add things that work to your medical protocols. Whether you can handle that is up to you. Brightspark bounced over, reading the list over Corvath's shoulder. "Fascinating. I want to study all of these. Dr. Webb, we must collaborate." "Sure, but you're not allowed to add nanoparticles to any of them." "But no nanoparticles." "You are no fun." Professor Grimwald examined the list with his usual enthusiasm. "These will all fail eventually, but I suppose we should try them first, just to confirm the inevitable failure, which could take years, decades even." He almost sounded hopeful. The council meeting ended with Corvath reluctantly authorizing research into Earth's traditional remedies. The media went wild with headlines about humanity's unexpected contribution to galactic medicine. Pip got promoted to head nurse of Ward 13, which had been renamed the Webb Recovery Center. I tried to get them to change it back, but bureaucracy is apparently universal. 3 months later, we got reports of a new illness spreading through the Cygnus sector. Respiratory issues, cellular degradation, the usual plague stuff. The council called an emergency session. Everyone looked panicked. Corvath's harmonics were already hitting crisis frequencies. I raised my hand. "Dr. Webb?" Corvath sounded exhausted already. "Have we tried turning it off and on again?" The silence in that chamber was beautiful. "Turning what off and on again?" Brightspark asked. "The patients, like medically induced brief metabolic pause and restart, basic system reset. We do it on Earth with hypothermia protocols sometimes. Works pretty well." "That is..." Corvath struggled with the words. "That is actually not a terrible idea. I know, right? It's almost like sometimes the simple solution is the right one. Do not push your luck, Dr. Webb. Wouldn't dream of it." As I left the council chamber that day, Pip oozed along beside me. "Do you think they will ever truly respect Earth medicine?" they asked. "Honestly? No. But they'll use it, and that's what matters. Saving lives beats getting respect any day. That is very wise." "Yeah, well, I learned it from Soup, the universe's greatest teacher." And somewhere in the galaxy, a grandmother was making chicken soup for her sick grandkid, having no idea she was participating in the most advanced medical science in the known universe. The universe is funny like that.